this is Mick Foley.
This is Harley Race.
This is Shelton Benjamin.
This is Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
This is the Monster Abyss.
And this is Daniel Bryan.
This is JBL, and you're watching the MWF.
Be there, live.
Welcome to the debut installment of Moving the Line. I'm Dan Marotti here at MWF Studios, just north of Boston in downtown Melrose, Massachusetts. Zip code of champion 02176. Let's take it to our hosts, Lou Saban, John Morgan.
Good morning, folks. We got Moving the Line, new podcast. We got me, I'm Lou Saban. We got my longtime buddy, John Morgan, over there. Say hi, John.
How's everybody doing?
So we're going to be doing a lot of weird stuff today. We're going to be talking news. We're going to be talking fantasy football, and for you degenerates out there, we're going to be talking a little bit of gambling, right, John? You're gambling.
Absolutely.
John, longtime gambler. He's very esteemed. He's got a lot of knowledge, so we're going to pick his brain and play some games later, too, right? Is that true? So we're going to head right into the news. So the topic that I think everybody's talking about the most right now, Colin Kaepernick. Is that correct?
Yeah, and I don't know how you feel about the subject about Colin Kaepernick, but I'm pretty sure we both have a lot to say about it.
Yeah, the first thing that I want to say, little known fact, John Morgan looks exactly like Colin Kaepernick. He's like a doppelganger. He looks just like Colin Kaepernick. It's really startling. But do you feel like an allegiance to him because you look just like him?
Let's be a little bit clear here. I'm the Italian version of Colin Kaepernick.
I think that's fair. That's
All right.
fair. So Colin Kaepernick, I think everybody knows it, but he won't stand for the national anthem, right?
He will not stand. As far as we know, it's been at least the last two games. I'm not sure about the first two.
Yeah, that's right. We don't really know if he was up for the first two games. We just know because the media coverage started in the third game, right?
Absolutely.
So we're not sure, but we do know his reasons. He says he's not going to stand for a flag that, for a country which oppresses minorities. That's pretty much correct, right? Is that what he's saying?
That's what he says, and a lot of people seem to have a problem with the fact that he makes $19 million a year, and he's not somebody that should feel that way. I mean, I don't agree with that. I don't have a problem with people who have the platform to do it, speaking for other people, because a lot of people don't have the platform, and they can't speak for themselves or be heard like he can. What I do have a problem with is the way he did it. I don't think that was a proper way to do it. I don't think sitting down for the national anthem, I think it was somebody who just couldn't think of a better thing to do.
Yeah, I got to tell you, so I feel like I have the exact opposite view of this than you do. I don't mind the way he did it, frankly. He didn't cause a huge outburst. He didn't do anything stupid. He didn't smash. He didn't light anything on fire. What I have a problem with who did it. And this is like super controversial, but Colin Kaepernick is paid $19 million to hold a clipboard. The stance is totally fine with me, but I just always say I wish somebody would oppress me so much that I could make $19 million for doing literally nothing.
Well, I don't think it's about him making $19 million is the problem. I don't think that's the point here. I mean, the fact that he makes $19 million doesn't mean that he can't have an opinion about something or feel about something.
True story.
I'm not quite sure if I actually believe this is how he feels about things, though, and where did it come from?
Oh, you don't think it's authentic?
No, I don't. Not at all. We've never heard anything like this from him before. He was an up-and-coming star in the NFL. He's never said anything about this. And now the minute he stops playing, he's not in the media's attention, in the spotlight. Now this comes
Oh, you think it's a spotlight thing?
I do.
You think he wants it? Wow. For me, it's a little bit different with, I think that Colin Kaepernick might be the least oppressed person in the United States. And this is like super controversial, whatever, but he doesn't do anything. He makes $19 million, doesn't do anything for it.
But you don't have a problem with him.
Where do I sign up?
You don't have a problem with him sitting down for the national anthem. You think that was a good way to do it?
I don't. You know what? I think that there are, with the way that people are handling this currently, by writing and setting police and murdering policemen with sniper rifles and all this, the fact that he chose to not. I'm a big fan of freedom of expression. I love the fact what makes this country great is we can say whatever we want, and there shouldn't be repercussions for it.
He said it took him so long to do this because he wanted to be educated on all the facts about what was going on, and that's what took him so long. If he wanted to be educated, how about taking the time and doing something that's going to educate everybody else on what's going on? And all he's doing is he's blaming one side, it sounds like. He doesn't bring up the police being shot at. He doesn't bring up any of those things.
Yep.
So he's sitting down and he says minorities, black people are being oppressed in this country, people are being shot dead. But doesn't look like he's attempting to do anything about it.
One thing he just did, though, John, he just dedicated his first $1 million of the season to charity for it. So I got to give him that.
Is he anticipating being cut and not getting that money?
No, man. Pretty weird. All right, well, that's enough on Colin Kaepernick. I think the next subject that I personally feel crazy about, that I want to tackle, Sam Bradford gets traded to the Minnesota Vikings for a first-round draft pick, John. A first-round draft pick. Who gets traded for a first-round draft pick? I can't believe it.
Well,
first-round draft pick.
Look at what else he's gotten. I mean, all the money he's made.
Oh, my God.
What are his stats this year? Oh, his career stats. He's an 81% QB rating for his career.
Okay.
81%.
Now, is that the NFL one or the ESPN one?
That's the NFL one. In my mind.
So that's
in my mind, the only one that counts.
150 something?
I think it's 158.2. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I think it's 158.2.
So
that is the going rate for a first-round pick.
Wow. Crazy. So who is earning his money more, Sam Bradford or Colin Kaepernick?
That's a tough one there. You put me on the spot with that one.
So he's got 78 touchdowns against 52 interceptions, 60% completion percentage. That's not great. Nothing about that is great. He's never put together a really great season. And and you know what's the craziest thing about this, John? You hear Philly fans complaining up and down about this trade because they're like, oh, we're rebuilding again. You got a first-round draft pick for a guy who sucks.
They have Carson Wentz. I mean, they're already rebuilding. They're already in that stage. And now they have a first-round draft pick.
I can't believe it. What poor, stupid Vikings, right?
Well, they're desperate.
So you got to think that the Vikings think this is their chance.
This team is built to win right now.
Right now.
They're coming off a great season last year, a very good game against the Seahawks.
Great defense.
Easily could have won.
Great running back.
The problem is, I mean, did they give up a lot? They gave up way too much. But in this league, what happens is you get paid if you play great. You get paid if you're anticipating playing great. And you get paid if you have to overpay if you're desperate, and that's pretty much what they did here.
Johnny, I'm going to draw a parallel here. I'm going to draw a parallel to the 2016 Boston Red Sox. Adrian Peterson, I don't think he's going to be elite this year. He's old. Running backs don't last. Just like the Boston Red Sox, this is the last year we got of Ortiz. So they threw the farm at it. They made a lot of trades. They traded for a lot of guys and gave up a lot for this year because they know they're not going to have Ortiz after this year. Maybe similar?
I don't know if I can compare the two.
Okay.
I don't think I can compare those two things.
Because you think they're going to have Peterson for longer than this year?
Well, I think that they're going to have Peterson for a few more years, I think. But
I think this is his last.
Who knows? You think this is his last
I don't even
solid
think he's
season?
going to be elite this year. I think he's going to get hurt.
Well, it seems like nowadays every running back gets hurt over the course of the season.
Yeah, you can. Which we'll talk about that later, John.
We will talk
about that.
All right,
that's Sam Bradford. We're going to move on to my personal favorite part of this. This is a new segment we're going to do. We're going to try it out here. And we're going to bring out the heavyweight championship belt. John Morgan, Lou Saban, we're going to find out who is the heavyweight champ, dumbest player in the NFL. Now, John, this isn't going to be easy because there's a lot of dummies in the NFL.
There, as like every year, there's always several choices on this.
Several choices. But this year, I think the odds-on favorite for dumbest player in the NFL, it's got to be Josh Gordon, right?
We've talked about this prior. I mean, I don't know how you don't give it to Josh Gordon. There's another guy who I don't know if he's able to be considered for this since he's not in the NFL anymore. Carlos Williams. He came.
What did he do? With Carlos with a K Williams, right?
Carlos with a K Williams.
49ers?
So he got drafted by the Buffalo Bills in the 5th round out of Florida State. And he was a defensive back. He was a running back. And he had a very good season last year. Very limited time, over 500 yards, 9 touchdowns. Up-and-coming running back. And this year, he decides to come to camp completely out of shape, overweight.
Oh, that's right. He was up like 30 pounds.
And he's already been cut.
Yeah.
So
they gave up on him quick.
Very quickly. So there might be some more things that we don't know about in that direction. But Josh Gordon he might be the leading contender. And another guy, if Greg Hardy ever does get a job, you know he's going to go right to the top of that class.
So basically, we're just waiting for Greg Hardy to do something.
And it's only a matter of time before many players in the NFL. We can give it to Josh Gordon now, but It's only a matter of time before somebody takes that.
Josh Gordon, noted dummy, suspended a bajillion times. He's a total idiot.
Likes to smoke a little too much weed.
He cannot control himself.
No.
But he's got a challenger, John. Do you want to know who this challenger is for dumbest player in the NFL?
Who do you think?
I'm going to put in there Aqib Talib, Super Bowl champion, former New England Patriot. This in the offseason claimed that he was shot by an unknown assailant. One problem with this, John. I'm going to read this here. In the police report for the Dallas Police Department, a bullet entered through the rear of Talib's right thigh and exited through his right calf, John. How?
Well, he obviously got a little too close with his gun there. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say we might have another Plaxico Burress incident in our hands.
And he shot himself in the leg.
Yeah.
What a fucking dummy.
Yes.
How many times does this have to happen before we stop shooting anyone?
I'm not sure that these guys know there's a safety on their guns.
All right, John, I'm going to let you have the final vote here. Heavyweight championship of the world, dumbest player in the NFL, Josh Gordon, Aqib Talib. Who do you got?
We're going to go with Josh Gordon this week. We're going to start it off with him.
Talib shot himself in the leg, but Josh Gordon, tough to beat. Just years and years of dumb.
We'll give Talib the benefit of the doubt for now, even though I think we all know what really happened.
Okay, let's move on.
We give it to Josh Gordon as well. He's also friends with Johnny Manziel, so that
oh my God,
that
Johnny
brings
Manziel.
him up the
Johnny
ladder
Manziel not in the NFL? Ooh, we should have thought of him. Hey, he'll be back. We'll be back.
Yeah, we can't count all these dumb guys who just got themselves kicked out of the NFL.
So many choices. It's a luxury that we have here. But there we go, John. Heavyweight champion of the world, dumbest player in the NFL, Josh Gordon. We're going to move on. All right, John, so we're going to move on to the New England Patriots, a subject very dear to my heart and to yours. And the thing we got to talk about is Tom Brady. John, lay it on me. Tom Brady, what do you got?
4 games. We're going to be without Tom Brady as we all know.
It hurts me on the inside.
What are you most excited to see with Tom Brady not being there?
With Tom Brady not being there, I'm not excited to see anything. What I am excited to see is Week 5, Tom Brady comes back and may throw 7 touchdowns on the Cleveland Browns. He could throw 8. He could throw 35 touchdowns on the Cleveland Browns.
What do you think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to do going into this?
Honestly, I think he could. There's a chance that he gets absolutely slaughtered in Week 1.
See,
they have a great defense. We're on the road. We could lose by 2 touchdowns.
I would say the only chance that we have in the first game is that we attack Carson Palmer. I don't see us winning a shootout by any means. I don't see it happening. I think with our offensive line, we have no idea what's going on with our offensive line. We're short on wide receivers. Jimmy Garoppolo, as much as people love him, he hasn't proved himself at all. You have no idea. You have no idea what you're getting.
We might need a police report.
I think our only chance is us attacking Carson Palmer, and I think it could happen.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is going to be a low-scoring game, the first game.
14-9.
I'm going to go with 17-14, and I'm going to go with the Patriots on it. I think they're going to surprise you, and we're going to win this game on defense.
Frankly, I think we lose. I think this could be bad. But I'm excited because as a lover of gambling, this could push the Patriots Super Bowl line up and get me better odds, God damn it.
You do need your odds. You need as much as you can get.
Oh, yeah. So, John, controversial subject. This is football's the number 1 sport in America. It's unchallenged. Number 2 sport, what?
It is.
College football. Number 3 sport, football off season is probably the number 3 sport. Everybody loves football. Quick question for you to answer, John. Your favorite sport's football.
It is football. Baseball being slight second.
I'm a baseball guy. I love the history. I love baseball. That's my number 1 sport, but football, close number 2. Would football be your favorite sport, John Morgan, if the Patriots hadn't been amazing for 15 years?
I think it would, and I think the reason why football is the most watched sport is because I think fantasy plays a big factor in that, which we'll get to later on in our show.
Fantasy plays baseball. Fantasy baseball preceded fantasy football.
But so in Boston in the 80s, you could easily say that this was a Bruins-Celtics town. All the banners being held.
Yep.
That's what this town was.
Yep.
And
because of the winning.
And then for a long time, it went to the Red Sox.
Yeah.
Everybody was all over the Red Sox, and that plays a big part in that. It became, we'll call it the cool thing to go to a Red Sox game.
Right, pink hats.
You can call it pink hats. You can call it whatever you like.
And anybody who doesn't like pink hats can fuck right off. Because if you don't want hot chicks wearing pink hats at your baseball game, get the fuck out of my stadium, you old crotchety bastard. I don't care what you have to say. I love pink hats.
So winning obviously plays a factor in things, but nationwide, football is the most.
You're right. Great argument. Nationwide,
it's not just in Boston. So I would have to say that regardless of winning, it would still be my favorite sport.
I hear you. It's a close second for me, although we can't take, everything's relative. We can't take ourselves out of the environment that we're in. But I would have to say it plays a certain factor, If the Patriots weren't so amazing, I might have to throw boxing or kickboxing or UFC up there as my number 2, or maybe hockey. I love hockey. But anyways, guys, that's what we got on the Patriots. And we're going to talk a little fantasy in the second half, right, John?
We'll see what happens in fantasy. We'll see Lou's picks on fantasy football and see who's more important, a wide receiver or a quarterback.
See you soon.
Going to take break number 1. When we come back, all the news that's fair to air in the world of NFL fantasy. Stand by.
You already know Kowloon Restaurant, established in 1950 and spanning 4 generations, serves a multi-Asian menu. Did you also know that Kowloon Restaurant is New England's premier Asian dining and entertainment complex, serving Cantonese, Szechuan, Thai, and Polynesian cuisine? And did you know that Kowloon Restaurant is also the home of the finest Japanese sushi? If you haven't dined at Kowloon Restaurant lately, then you simply haven't dined at Kowloon. Kowloon Restaurant, Route 1 North in Saugus.
Welcome back to NFL Moving the Line Week 1. It's time for NFL Fantasy Talk. Here are your hosts, Lou Saban, John Morgan.
What's going on, guys? We're talking fantasy right now.
Lou's favorite subject.
Yeah, I love fantasy. John, you love fantasy, right?
I do love fantasy.
I've been playing fantasy for years and years and years. I believe that fantasy baseball is the superior sport, but fantasy football is absolutely dominating this nation.
As it has for a while now.
As it has forever, right? Fantasy, even like fair weather fans play fantasy football. You would never, ever see a fair weather fan play fantasy baseball, right?
You have more fantasy football fans than you do actual football fans. How many?
My God, that might be true.
Not to say women don't love football, because there's plenty of women out there that do love football.
Right.
But you see more women playing fantasy football that know nothing about football.
Nothing.
And, they win sometimes too.
Sometimes they win, and it hurts. It hurts. But, John, we're going to bring up a debate that you and I have long had here. We've yelled at each other about this forever.
And we'll continue yelling at each other.
And we're going to do it. We might even do it right now.
Probably a good chance of that happening.
So, fantasy football, first round, drafting players, there's something that I just do not understand. And it is the fact that if you look at projected first round draft picks in every fantasy league that you've ever played in, it's been running backs for the first round, pepper a couple of wide receivers in there. That's true, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Every projected one, it's always running back. Take your running backs. Get your running backs. I'm going to direct you to something that we did. John and I are in a fantasy football league right now. Is that true, John?
Yep. We just had our draft, 4 days ago?
John, I have been an advocate for years of using our first round draft pick on a quarterback. That's true, right? You back that up?
You've said it for as long as I know you, and I still don't know why. Well, I do know why, but you've yet to actually prove it.
John, let me point this out to you. The fantasy league that we are in, if you look at 2015 score points, the top 17 players were quarterbacks.
Absolutely, all quarterbacks.
The difference between number 1 and number 2 was 38 points, John. Why are we drafting running backs in the first round when they don't even play past week 10?
I think the biggest reason for it is injuries happen all the time.
Yeah.
They happen all the time. You can count on it no matter who your team is, who's on your team, you're going to have several injuries. It's easier to get more production out of another quarterback if your quarterback goes down than a running back or a wide receiver. It's a wide receiver and a running back are much easier to fill in with somebody else, and the point differential won't be as bad as opposed to a quarterback.
Here's how I counter. Far fewer quarterbacks go down than running backs and wide receivers. There's far, far less injuries to quarterbacks. Running backs go to, if you invest a first-round draft pick in a running back, there's a 50% chance that your running back is going to be dead for the season by week 8. I drafted Gurley with my first-round pick this year. And if Gurley goes down, maybe 6 weeks into the season, and I have to go find another running back, the odds of me getting solid production out of another running back are going to be nowhere near as good as if Aaron Rodgers went down and you have to find another quarterback. But if your running back goes down,
if you go sign another quarterback, you have a good chance of getting 15, 20 points out of another quarterback.
Here's the thing, your quarterback's probably not going to go down.
Quarterbacks go down all the time in the NFL.
I remember the last time that I had a quarterback go down was 2008 when Brady, 2007 when Brady got his knee exploded in week 1, 10 minutes into the game.
Do you remember who you got?
I don't remember who I got. My season was over because you lose Tom Brady. But that's the last time my quarterback went down.
Well, I think that could be a point there. Your season was over after you lost Tom Brady,
But my
right?
first round running back goes down every year. But I have never my first round quarterback has not gone down since then.
Why do you think it is that after all these years that receivers, running backs are still picked ahead of quarterbacks? Why do you think it is?
I don't understand it because every other sport you pick the players that score the most points first. And you pick the players that are going to play. So injuries is the number one factor.
But if you can get somebody in the first round that is going to put up a lot of points, being the top 1-2 running backs in the NFL, and you can get a guy in the 6th round that is still going to get you over 200, 250 points as a quarterback, why wouldn't you do it?
Let me just put it to you this way. The top quarterback scored 130 more points than the top anything, who happened to be Antonio Brown, than the number 1 top miscellaneous. 130 points, that's a whole other player.
What round did you draft your quarterback in this year?
So I drafted my quarterback in the 2nd round, despite the fact that I could have drafted him in the 4th or even 5th round.
That's what I did. I waited till quarterbacks were taken, and I think I drafted my quarterback in the 6th round.
And that's fair. That's fair. But why is it like that? I just don't get it.
I think it comes down to the math. I mean, I'm
looking at the number right
You're
here.
looking at the number. That's not
math.
No. That is
math is numbers, John. Look it up.
You don't want to argue with me about numbers. It's one person getting points. I think if you add up the players from the 1st round and the 6th round and see the difference between the two, it's like take your plays, for example. Who did you take? You have Aaron Rodgers, what, in the 2nd round?
2nd round.
How many points did he get? Projected.
Aaron Rodgers scored 286 points last year, and if I knew how to work the internet better, I would tell you what he's projected to do, but I can't. So.
Who did you get in the 7th round?
I don't remember. See, I see what you're saying, though, and
a lot of those
right.
cases, if you can get a quarterback for 250 points, 260 points in the 6th, 7th round, why not do it? Especially when you have
you're
a guy
totally
in
right.
the 1st round that is going to get 200 and something points as well, as opposed to drafting a quarterback in the 1st round, getting your 280 points, and then getting a guy in the 7th round where you got your quarterback who's going to get 80 or 100 points.
And that's 100%
There's the
correct.
math that changes right there.
You're totally correct, but the reason why I'm doing this, why is it like that? Why are people drafting these guys who score 130 more points than the next guy? Why are they drafting him in the 5th?
Because you can get the guy with 50 less points as a quarterback in the 6th round.
The difference between 1 and 2 of the quarter is 40 points, 38 points. Difference between like 1 and 2 running back. Let's just see here. No, I'm too dumb to be able to do this. It doesn't have points in it. Anyways, I'm sure it'd be far less if I was able to use this correctly. But
if you get a guy for 250 points in the 1st round who's a running back, and then you get a quarterback for 250 points in the 6th round, that's 500 points. If you get your quarterback in the 1st round at, say, 300 points, but you get another player in the 6th round that's 100 points, now that you're looking at 400 points. Now, technically, in your fantasy team, you'd be minus 100 points.
So
if that's the way you do it. So it really, I think it has to do with how you draft, more so than necessarily saying that a quarterback should be the number 1 pick.
So the difference between the number 1 quarterback and the number 1 non-quarterback is the 18th ranked running back, 130 points. That's the 18th ranked running back. So that's a whole nother player.
It is.
It's a whole nother player.
So did you take a look to see who you picked in the 7th round?
No, I haven't. I can't remember. I think I got a...
So you do understand what I'm saying, though, right?
I totally understand what you're saying, and what you're saying is right because it works under the current system.
Now, like anything else, if you're worried about injuries, then
quarterbacks don't get injured.
Everybody gets injured. Everyone's going to get injured.
You can agree that quarterbacks get injured far less than running backs. Far less.
Now, in the last couple of years, it seems like the running backs are going down left and right.
Left and right. So you make that first round investment in a running back. God bless you. I think we can all agree that I won that debate. And we're just going to move on.
Still doesn't know the difference between math on the 1st round.
We're going to move on to the second because just call in and tell me how I won that.
Ginger Lou lost again.
All right, we're going to move on to a new game here. Fresh off victory, we're going to move on to a new game we're going to play here. And everybody's always talking about who's the best player, who's going to score you the most points, who's going to lead the league in touchdowns, yards, catches, all that stuff. we're not interested in that, John, right?
No, we want to see the shittiest player.
You know what? We want to cheer for failure. Do you want to cheer for failure?
Failure. People love to see failure.
What's better than watching a guy? What was better than watching Jake Delhomme throw those 6 interceptions in the playoffs that one year? You remember that?
I do.
How much fun was that?
It was a lot of fun, except if you have him as your fantasy quarterback.
Yeah, but what's more fun than laughing at the guy who has them? It's almost better than winning. So screw that. We're not picking the best player. We're going to pick the worst player. We're going to go week to week here, and we're going to try to find the worst fantasy quarterback every week, and we're going to see who wins. We're going to score it based on who scores the least amount of fantasy points. Does that work for you, John?
Yeah, then we're going to have a little contest. One of us is going to have to do something very stupid at the end of the season.
Very stupid or humiliating, possibly a combination.
We're going to try and figure that one out soon.
Yeah, we didn't
before somebody gets too far ahead.
We didn't prepare very well. But,
no.
So anyway, John, I'm going to let you make your pick first. Who do you got? Who do you think is going to be the worst quarterback? Is going to throw the most picks, score the least amount of fantasy?
This was a tough one.
Yeah.
There was a few out there who I thought about, but ultimately I had to go with Blaine Gabbert.
Blaine Gabbert, terrible quarterback.
Terrible. He doesn't have a lot of experience starting, and he's going against a defense that I think is going to have a very strong season.
And he's literally never been good.
The Rams, I think, are poised for they have lost some defensive players.
They got Ogletree, he's nasty.
Ogletree, Aaron Donald.
Aaron Donald might be the best player in the league.
The team is definitely stacked, and I think Blaine Gabbert, with as little experience as he has, and without a lot of weapons around him, I think he could be in for a rough time against the Rams.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that's a great guess. I am going to go with 2015. Is he Mr. What was that? Mr. Irrelevant? Was he the last pick?
7th round pick? I think
7th round number by the Broncos. He's Mr. Irrelevant. He's the last pick of the draft.
He had no business being the starting quarterback this season.
So basically he's out there waiting for that Paxton guy.
He's on a Super Bowl team that I just think, as much credit as I like to give John Elway, because I think he's done a good job, I think he completely botched this one right here.
So they're going to start Trevor Siemian? What do you got there?
Think of what you do sometimes, Lou, with young girls. What comes out of you?
Joke? This is what, I'm
Trevor,
sorry, that's not
I believe his name's Trevor Seaman.
Okay. All right, we're going to go with Trevor Seaman. So John Morgan, you're going with Blaine Gabbert.
Blaine Gabbert. Blaine Gabbert's my pick.
Trevor Seaman, they're going against Carolina.
And I'm pretty sure that's not how you say his name. I just wanted to see Lou get all red.
God damn it. You've won this round, John. So I'm going Trevor. Is it Simeon? God, how dare you?
I think it's Trevor Simeon.
Simeon, okay. He's got the Panthers. It's going to get ugly. Super Bowl defense. They're going to eat him up. It's on coming right up Thursday Night Football. We're going to see. Okay, so that's our fantasy talk for right now. We're going to talk a little gambling because that's what we do, right, John?
Yeah, we're going to move the line a little bit.
Are we going to move the line?
I think we're going to move the line.
Get ready for John Morgan moving the line.
We'll be back with more NFL. Moving the line up next, Sin City, Las Vegas. Eat your heart out. John Morgan's bacon is sizzling. We'll be back with Fantasy Talk after this brief timeout.
You already know Kowloon Restaurant, established in 1950 and spanning 4 generations, serves a multi-Asian menu. Did you also know that Kowloon Restaurant is New England's premier Asian dining and entertainment complex, serving Cantonese, Szechuan, Thai, and Polynesian cuisine? And did you know that Kowloon Restaurant is also the home of the finest Japanese sushi? If you haven't dined at Kowloon Restaurant lately, then you simply haven't dined at Kowloon. Kowloon Restaurant, Route 1 North in Saugus.
Welcome back to NFL Moving the Line, Week 1. Now it's time for a little gambling talk and the picks of the week. Here are your hosts, Lou Saban, John Morgan.
All right, guys, we got a few degenerates out there. We got some hot gambling talk. We also have a phone call? Phone call line 1? Phone call line? Okay, never mind. So that was a pizza delivery. So we're going to
delivery. It's DiGiorno.
John Morgan, is it fair to say that you are an expert and longtime gambler?
Definitely a longtime gambler. We'll say just below the expert level.
Okay, but you're a big fan. You've considered gambling as a career.
Very big fan,
right?
No.
I mean, you're gambling right now, right? Which is currently we should get the feds on the line. I think. Right?
We like to
get the police in here.
We like to keep this a little bit safer than.
Long story short, John Morgan loves some gambling. He's been picking spreads and lines forever. He loves his poker. He loves everything. But we're going to have a new game today.
All right, so what we're going to do, this is the Moving the Line segment, and I'm going to pick 3 games for Lou. NFL games where I actually make the line.
That's right, John Morgan's your bookie.
And Lou gets to pick one of the games to bet on using our money, and he can bet anywhere between $5 and $20 on it, because I haven't taken enough of Lou's money. I'm going to try and
that's hurtful.
Try and make more. And so he gets to pick one of the games. The lines that he's going to get are Eagles favored by 5 points over the Browns, the Falcons favored by 5 points over the Buccaneers, and the Packers favored by 7 over Jacksonville.
Well, that's a tough.
So he gets to make his choice on which game he would like to pick.
So I want to make it clear to everybody, these are not Vegas lines.
These are not Vegas lines. These are my lines.
These are John Morgan's lines. He did not look at the lines.
I did not.
And this is a strategy that you've used before, maybe if you're feeling a little bit off, right?
Yes. I go and try and pick the lines myself, because sometimes when you go and look at the lines, it'll be pretty close and you'll kind of waver back and forth. So if you already have your line picked, and then you go and see what the Vegas line is, you already know which direction you're going to want to go in.
Because there's so many influences out there.
So many influences.
And you kind of want to have,
You can listen to ESPN, you can listen to pregame shows, and they can throw all these different numbers at you and just sidetrack you. So if you can just figure it out for yourself ahead of time, it just makes your decision much easier.
So basically what we're saying, John Morgan is Rene Descartes right here. He's peeling away all of the outside influences into his brain. He's the only influence. And John Morgan is your bookie. So I get to pick one of those lines. So if you could roll off those lines for me one more time, John.
So we get Eagles by 5 over Cleveland.
Yep.
Falcons by 5 over the Buccaneers. And the Packers by 7 over Jacksonville.
So I think Eagles are in disarray right now. I can't, even over the lowly Browns who are looking, what do you think, 2 wins, 3 wins for Browns this year?
Yeah, I'm going to go out and say the Browns are probably going to have 5.
Wow,
I think the Browns are going to get 5 wins this year.
I think you got a Vegas bet right there. I think they're probably around 4.
I like the Browns.
Okay.
I like the Browns to win.
I don't think I've
games.
ever heard anybody say that.
I'm not going to. No, I like them for 5 games. I don't like them to win much more than that.
First time on air, someone said I like the Browns. That's never happened. Okay, and so
I think RG3 is going to have a decent season.
Can we please record that and play that back later in the season?
Yes,
for
we can.
When
We can.
he's in the hospital after 17 interceptions.
5.
Okay, and we got road favorites in the Packers over the Jags. I kind of like the Jags to cover there, but I think that they're going to regress a little bit this year. I think they're a little bit for regression. So I think that the Bucs can put up a little bit of points. They got a quarterback. What do you think, Jameis Winston?
He's something.
He's
we'll
a quarterback.
See. He's definitely a quarterback. We'll see how good he's going to do this year.
But I think that he could score on the shitty Falcons. Because the Falcons are shit.
What do you think? You think it's going to be a high-scoring game?
I think it's going to be a disgusting game. It's going to be an ugly game, and either way it happens, I'm not going to feel very good about whether I win or lost. So, but I think Doug Martin is a pretty decent guy. They got a good defense. I trust.
You think Jameis Winston is going to have a solid second season?
No.
No?
I think that he could be good in the beginning of the season, though, especially against a shitty defense like the Falcons. So that's right, folks. I don't feel great about it. So I'm going to start 5. We're going to start small. $5. Give me the Bucs. $5 on the Bucs.
That sounds a lot of confident. $5,
definitely not confident.
Really confident. All right. I like it. So do you want to know what the lines really are?
All right. So let's go for it. So we're going to get the actual Vegas lines here, and we're going to see how much money I lose this season.
So the actual lines, the Eagles are actually favored by 3.5 points over the Browns.
And you had 5, right?
Yeah, 5, yes.
Okay.
The Falcons are favored by 3 points over the Bucs. I have 5 as well.
So I made a decent pick there.
Yeah. You definitely went with the numbers there.
Yeah.
And the Packers are actually favored by 5.5 points over Jacksonville.
So Vegas likes Jacksonville, huh?
Well, they like Packers to win by 5.5.
John, you ever been to Jacksonville?
And I will never go. No, and I will never
so
go.
I'm from Jacksonville. And I actually
big reason why I will never go.
Yeah. So I actually went back down there 2 years ago for the world's largest outdoor cocktail party, where Florida plays Georgia every year. And I got to tell you, I was shocked. They have actual fans. Like, I met like 3 people who were diehard
Patriots fans or
Jacksonville
fans.
Some guy in a bar, I was shit-faced. He told me a story about one of his friends stabbed another person in a Jacksonville Jaguars-related dispute.
Was that when you were with your father to the bar, or?
Yeah, my dad did not stab anybody. Please, John.
I'm sorry. That was a different story, I guess.
John, this is
I forgot.
very poor.
I forgot. Sometimes I forget we're on air.
So I'm from Jacksonville. You're like, why aren't you a Jacksonville Jaguars fan, right?
Nobody asked that question.
Nobody asked that?
No.
All right, well, fuck you, John. We're gonna. So there we go. I bet $5 on the mighty Tampa Bay Buccaneers to trounce the shitty Atlanta Falcons. So there we go. John Morgan is your bookie. We just moved the line, right, John?
We just moved the line.
All right, so now we're just going to close it out today. Thanks, everybody, for listening. But John Morgan, experienced gambler, he's going to fire off some picks that he likes, and we're just going to chat about.
These are my 5 picks for the week.
All right.
I'm going to take the Jets. They're getting 2.5 points over the Bengals.
Okay, why do you like the Jets, buddy?
Well, Jets are home. I think they're going to have a solid season.
The New Jersey Jets.
I'm not sold on the Bengals.
No, not a Bungles fan.
I think in this game early in the season, I like the Jets getting the points at home.
So you think maybe the Bungles don't have their shit together and the Jets solid D will just control at home?
I think it'll be a relatively close game. I think the Jets could win the game outright.
By the way,
that's why I'm going to take them.
Did you see last week that the Jets were saying that they might take phone calls over Geno Smith as a trade target? They might.
I'm pretty sure they just want to sound like.
Are you serious? He's fucking terrible. Of course they'll trade him.
I think the only reason why they're saying that is because they want to try and get a little bit more than nothing for him.
Oh, they have the poker face, right?
Yeah.
It's a poker reference. You like that?
All right.
Okay.
Moving on. So I'm going to take the Giants, 1.5 points over the Cowboys. Well, Tony Romo, obviously, that's why I'm taking the Giants. Division rivals. I just see the Giants pulling this one out here.
I like Dak Prescott.
Do you?
Yeah.
Do you think he's the next Russell Wilson?
No.
No?
No.
I've heard that a lot.
No, that's ridiculous.
No?
I think that Dak Prescott's going to be good for the first 5-6 weeks, and then the league will catch up.
See, I think what he has on his side right now is the offensive line in Dallas. I think if you have an offensive line like that,
they might have the best in the league.
It's going to help him out quite a bit, but this is the regular season. This isn't preseason, so we're actually going to see what he has now.
I just think that a lot of those quarterbacks who rely on their legs a lot and their athleticism and stuff, they've set the world on fire in the beginning, and then the league catches up to them, and they're not as good anymore. RG3, a million examples.
We'll see with him, but, I mean, if you're just going by the preseason, what else have you seen from him?
Who, Dak Prescott?
Yeah.
That's it?
That's it. Yeah, so I think we have a lot to learn about this guy. I don't know if he has what it takes going forward. I don't think Tony Romo has anything to worry about.
And this is just another opportunity for me to be wrong, John. So
could be.
One
of us definitely will be. I get the Rams at 2.5 points over the 49ers.
Where are they playing?
They're in San Francisco.
2.5 points. Okay, Rams.
So if I'm going to take Blaine Gabbert to be my worst quarterback in fantasy, I think I'm going to have to go ahead and have to take the Rams playing the 49ers.
Is it Case Keenum this week?
Case Keenum. He started.
Jared Goff does not look good so far.
He doesn't look much. Jared Goff doesn't look too good either.
What did I say?
You said Case Keenum.
Goff. Goff doesn't look. That's what I meant to say. Goff does not look good in the preseason.
Colts 3.5 points at home over the Lions.
Lions, poor Lions. Can you imagine being a Lions fan, John?
Once again, just like your Jacksonville team, no, I can't. Now that I have Calvin Johnson, Matthew Stafford, I don't know what he is doing lately.
The two best players in the history of the Lions both quit just because they just didn't want to play anymore. It's like, fuck this. I hate playing here.
Fifth one.
Yeah.
Going to go with the under on the Patriots-Cardinals game.
What was the number?
This is a gamble, 47.5 points.
Wow, that's a lot of points, isn't it?
But I think if the Patriots want to win this game, they're going to have to. It's going to have to be a relatively low-scoring game. I see them just attacking Carson Palmer. I also see us getting after them, the Cardinals getting after Garoppolo. So I'm going to go with a low-scoring game, relatively under 47.5, maybe around 40, 42 points. I mean, I don't think it's going to be too low, but I think that's the cap. I think the game could be closer to 17-10.
John Morgan, I'm going to let you know I'm stealing that. That is my pick of the week now.
This one, the under?
Yeah,
like the under?
Is now, I'm co-opting it, and it is now mine. So thank you very much for that. I'm taking full credit for that is what I'm saying.
Well, as long as you win money on it, that's what I'm here for.
All right, what else you got?
Those are the 5 picks. Those are the 5 picks.
5 picks. I should have listened. 5 picks of the week. All right. John Morgan, 5 picks. We follow him. He's really good at this stuff. He's a good gambler. He's great at picking spreads, great at picking lines. We just want to say thank you very much for listening to us talk about stupid stuff, swearing in your face. It's talking about fantasy, gambling, news, and the dumbest player in the NFL, Josh Gordon.
Which I think we're both pretty sure he's going to be overtaken for the title very soon.
Dethroned, probably.
Judging by how the NFL is these days.
When Greg Hardy
I'm sure
drives
there'll be
his car
another
into a
idiot
farmer's
coming
market.
through soon.
You know? All right, guys, that's all we have for you today. Come back next week.
We'll
Lou
see you
Saban,
next week.
John Morgan. Say goodbye, John.
We'll see you next week, guys.
See ya.
It's been an exciting week here on NFL Moving the Line Week 1. Make sure to join us on Week 2. Follow us on social media. Like, subscribe, and every good thing that goes along with the World Wide Web in 2016. Till we speak again, folks, you and yours, be well.